Good morning and good night. Right, I'm very proud to welcome Mr. Steven Lambert. He's a filmmaker, producer, and also the founder of Bangkok International Documentary Awards, also known as BKK Doc, and welcoming him from Bangkok. We have a 12-hour difference. Right now, I'm in Ecuador, so it's 9 p.m. Thank you very much, Mr. Stephane, to join the live.
Thank you very much for inviting me. I'm delighted to be here live with you, live from
Thank you
Bangkok.
very much, sir. Thank you very much, sir. First, I want you to tell me about your start in the entertainment field before initializing the film festival. What can you tell us?
Oh, too many things. So I've started 10 years ago with a boutique production house focusing on news. We were at that time several people involved in this sharing the company, and our focus was providing news segments to French TVs, news about Southeast Asia, focusing on Thailand, Indonesia, Myanmar at that time, the Philippines. I was in charge of developing contracts and the business side of the operation. That was 10 years ago. And
Yes.
6 years ago, I moved to the documentary world, organizing the Asian side of the doc in Bangkok, Thailand. That is a market. It's a spin-off of Sunny Side of the Dock, which is a French market, one of the largest in Europe of its kind. So this was 2016. It was the first of its kind in Thailand. It was a success. It happened twice in 2016 and 2018, and then I've decided to go on the lighter side of the business, which is the festival, where there is less business and more entertainment. Still in the documentary field, and this is how we started working on the BKK Doc.
Mhm.
And BKK Doc, it's now its second edition.
Yes. The first edition was last year or the year before the COVID?
The No, it's a COVID baby. We
Mhm.
started Bangkok Doc in 2020 with its first edition,
Mhm.
and we had it was a very pleasant surprise, because if you remember, it seems to be so long ago, but a year ago the world was in shock, and we believe that it was interesting to one, to focus on positive things, to give positive energy. So the festival was a way to say, look, there are still things happening, and also to give opportunities for people to network online, and specifically to filmmakers, documentary filmmakers, to continue building bridges with distributors, producers, professionals, and also viewers around the world. So that was the drive behind the first edition of Bangkok Doc. And to my happy surprise, we had a huge turnout in terms of submissions. We went to over 400 submissions. That's for a new festival with no background. Was very, very interesting to see that not only we had a large volume of submissions, but also submissions of very high qualities from all over the world, as well as very large budgets, filmed with very large budget. We had also filmed with very small budget, almost house films. We had documentaries from Myanmar, for instance, with a budget of less than $1,000 US, and at the same time, we had in competition films from the US with a budget reaching $1 million US. So that was the beginning of Bangkok Doc, and only now a year and a half ago.
Yes. So you realized the first edition before the lockdown?
It started as no, it was during the lockdown. It started
Mm-hmm.
in April 2020
Mm-hmm.
as it was a discussion with friends. I said, yeah, why not using this time? We are all at home, we are all stuck. There is no shooting ongoing. There is no more distribution because the cinema are closed. Why don't we just launch our festival online? So we launched a competition first online, and thanks to the success, there was enough traction to go and talk to some potential screening partners in Bangkok. And I must say that we had a very strong support from the Goethe Institute in Thailand. Goethe Institute is very active in the documentary world and a great supporter. So its director, Maren Nimmer, gave us the support, gave us an auditorium, gave us a screen. And for 4 days, we had the privilege to screen the festival, the selection of the festival, at the Goethe Institute in Bangkok. Of course, it was a partial. It was not a lockdown, but there was very strong health-related rules to follow in Bangkok at that time. So we did. We managed to have an opening screening with over 100 people. That was the maximum that we were allowed to welcome in the auditorium. And then we had screenings of the award-winning films for a week. That was in 2020, in December 2020.
And submission-wise, did you launch a call, or did you use some submission platforms like Film Freeways, Fest Home? You know.
So what we did last year was to go through various platforms. We, of course, Film Freeway was still one of the leader. Sorry for the noise. Um, then we had also a partnership with a French platform called Doc Film Depot, and that was quite successful for the French and the French-speaking markets. Then we had also few others, one of them from Singapore and Canada that didn't work that well. So we decided to focus this year, to concentrate on only Film Freeway, with maybe a larger call for entries, a larger promotion of the call for entries, so that the smaller number of platforms to enter the competition could be balanced with a wider PR campaign. So the process is we open the submission in January. It runs until end of July. From beginning of July to end of August, our international jury is screening and rating the films in competition. In September, we announce the official selection, and in October we announce the award winners, so that we have 1 month and a half to promote the award winners and to promote the program of the festival. This year the festival will be in Bangkok, physically in Bangkok, at the Goethe Institute still, and at the Alliance Française that we have the pleasure to count among our screening partners this year. And, which is new, will be online for 1 full month at filmocracy.com. Filmocracy.com is an American-based streaming platform with a great focus on documentary. It's a young platform. It's been acquired by a Canadian conglomerate, so it's a very promising platform. And I must say that we have a great partnership and a great relationship with their team. So from 1st of December, the official selection and the award winners will be streaming on filmocracy.com. There is a cost, there is a festival pass, but if you let's put it this way: It's difficult to pay for anything today to be watched online, huh? And I'm the first to consider that I already pay for few some streaming platforms, so why pay for something else? But these films, there will be about 40 films, 40 documentaries exclusively available here and never to be seen anywhere else, and probably with no chance to see them again for because documentary have trouble to access the general public in general. So for a very small amount of something like 15 US dollar for a month, you can access a Bangkok doc online and have the first view on all these fantastic documentaries that you can see them. You can see the trailers and the details on bkkdoc.com. But if you put all together the amount of money and effort that were necessary to produce these films, you see that is a very small amount that we
Right.
ask to access democracy.com.
So the next edition will be next year, correct?
So we have an
Include
edition now that will start
you
on
have an
1st of
edition.
December,
Yes,
Bangkok Doc 2021.
excellent.
Um, the big winner for Best Feature Documentary Award is The Six. The Six is a documentary that describe, detail, and tell the story of six Chinese guys who boarded the Titanic and didn't die when the Titanic crashed. And the question the filmmaker is asking is how come you have six Chinese guys at that time boarding in Europe, boarding on board the Titanic, and surviving the Titanic catastrophe, and then these six guys disappeared. We don't know where they went. So this is a fantastic and amazing story, a true story told through this documentary, The Six. It's directed by Arthur Jones, and what's amazing is that he could convince the famous producer James Cameron to board the project. And what is fantastic is not only James Cameron has a super powerful name, but also if you remember, James Cameron produced this entertainment feature film, The Titanic.
Of course,
So he has kilos, tons of exclusive archives,
of
researches,
course. Yes.
footage that Arthur could use in his documentary. From what I
Accidentally, I used to work in Fox Cairo office when Titanic was
okay.
released.
Oh,
So we did the premiere in Egypt in Cairo when Titanic was released, and we used to get all the news, all the stuff. And I think after maybe 10 years or something, I was in the Berlinale, and there was an IMAX cinema playing a documentary James Cameron shot about Titanic, because he took a small submarine, and he visited the what is left of the Titanic, you know, and
okay.
they shot it in IMAX. It was, I think, called Ghosts of the Abyss, the film. Ghosts
Oof.
of the Abyss. Yes. Of course, before this, he did The Abyss, of course, was another film of his, about aliens in the ocean. But of course, the Titanic has many stories. I think it's very interesting to for this filmmaker to investigate this journey of six Chinese who were on board. It's sometimes fact is stranger than fiction. As we know. But
That's what's so fascinating about
yeah.
documentaries.
Mhm.
In the fiction world, in the entertainment world, when you watch a movie, a series, program, the whole idea is to get the audience hooked to the story, and the audience, interact with what's happening in the story, what's happening on screen.
Yes,
With a documentary, there is no need for that because it's a true story, and there is nothing more powerful than a true story.
of course.
I give you an example. There is a movie that got an award, the Best Sport Documentary Award in Bangkok Doc 2021. It's the title is Surviving Bokator. It's the story of this real ancient Cambodian martial arts, very strong, very powerful, very violent martial art that is being used in Cambodia as a way to put the nation together, because Cambodia has suffered so many tragic events over the recent history. So they are using this ancient traditional martial art as a way to put the people together to heal a nation, as they put it in the film.
Yes.
This is a real story. This is a real story, and it's more powerful, and you can relate as an audience so much with what you see on screen. I give you another example. We stay in Cambodia, and there is I'm looking for the poster that I have with me here. Joël Gershon made a documentary titled Cirque du Cambodia, after Cirque du Soleil, who
Oui.
tell the story of these guys in Cambodia that went from rice fields to Cirque du Soleil in the US. Their dream was to show their art of acrobatic, gymnastic to the Cirque du Soleil, to bring their art to the world. But when you live
Yes.
in Cambodia with no money, with no access to the world, it's quite of an impossible dream. This documentary, this film, shows that when your dream is powerful enough, when your will is there, when you meet the right people, everything is possible.
Yes.
Uh, that's really inspiring. That's really inspiring.
Yes. But right now, Stefan, do you have some plans of expanding the festival into maybe a fund to support independent filmmakers, since you have, I think, no restriction on the budget of films playing. You screen big and small films, and
Absolutely.
also, uh, of course, being a producer, maybe you have thought as well of creating a parallel film market, like we see Le Marché du Film in Cannes, or the Berlinale, the film market in the Berlinale, and big film markets like that. Do you have plans of expanding your festival, in the upcoming years?
So the plan. Thank you for asking these questions. It's a very important aspect of the festival. Is how do we motivate the filmmakers? How do we make their life better? And how do we add value to the industry? To answer these questions, I've been asking professionals here and there, mainly in Thailand, and the funding is one element. The distribution is another key factor of the success of a documentary and the success of a filmmaker journey. What we see is that all over the world, except maybe in France, where the system is very strong supporting filmmakers, it's extremely difficult to access proper funding for a documentary. Um, there is plenty of investment available, but to reach this plentiness, you really have to be in specific circuits. And for Southeast Asia in particular, it's the entry ticket is very high comparing to the level of investment that can be put into a documentary from Southeast Asian filmmaker. And this is my concern, because how to give opportunities to Southeast Asian filmmakers. So yes, you mentioned it. We could set up a fund. There are already a few funds available specifically for Southeast Asian filmmakers. I'm working on this idea, but we need to wait for the health related restriction to ease in Southeast Asia. Beside Thailand and maybe one or two other countries, including I guess South Korea and maybe Cambodia, Southeast Asia and Asia in general is locked. You cannot travel. When you travel, you have very long quarantine. Hong Kong is 3 weeks when you want to
Hmm.
enter Hong Kong. And as a tourist, from what I know, I'm not sure, maybe I'm wrong, but as a tourist, you cannot enter Hong Kong. You cannot enter, definitely, you cannot enter China. Taiwan is difficult, if not impossible. South Korea is easy. You just have a small quarantine,
Hmm.
um, and you visit, you work in Korea. But um, the plan is one, make the festival physically more important, more entertaining for a general public, drag in sponsors that would see their interest served by a larger event with public interest, and not to create a market per se, but to entertain a village where the filmmakers visiting the festival, the professional visiting the festival, would have an opportunity to mingle in a friendly atmosphere. And this business is not like any other business. You don't, of course, it's an industry, but before the industry, there is the art creation. And the art creation, of course, you can sit around a table, but it's better if you are relaxed, you have maybe a meal, a drink, a cozy atmosphere where you meet people and you just exchange ideas, point of views, and you tell about your passion project. And then you meet people that are equally passionate, and this might translate into a partnership, a venture. Say, yeah, let's do this film together. And when there is passion, when there is a team, usually there is a distributor, there is a broadcaster, and then there is money.
Yes, but I see that Bangkok and Thailand, are surrounded by very big industries around them. You have China, you have India, you know. So how do you see being based in Bangkok the industry in Thailand, compared to big industries like that?
Surprisingly,
Hmm.
um, Thailand is at the center of Southeast Asia and one of the key country for Asia.
Hmm.
Geopolitically speaking, Thailand is the only country in Southeast Asia with so many land borders around it. You have Thailand and you have Cambodia, Laos, a bit of China, Myanmar, Malaysia, uh, surrounding Thailand. So this makes Thailand kind of a hub.
Yes.
Then Thailand is extremely surprisingly, despite all the coup every 10, 12 years, uh, Thailand is very stable. So in terms of production, in terms of being a production hub and a creative hub, Thailand is a very key position. Then the world today, the new world, and I'm including the whole world, is under the influence of South Korean soft power. If you think about the Asian entertainment industry, uh, who's coming up? Before it was Japan, now it's, and for some time now it's South Korea. We all know a Parasite who went to award, Oscar, Cannes, and BTS who is breaking all the records in terms of sales and followership. It's quite incredible. And then you have Thailand, because Thailand is fascinating in terms of having an attractive culture for all over for everybody in the world. Everybody knows about Thailand. Everybody knows about Thailand as a touristic destination. Everybody knows about Thailand for its food, for its Thai boxing. Um, so there is Thailand industry is not powerful on the world stage, but it's powerful as a power behind. You know,
Hmm.
Thai media outlets are very smart in terms of bringing their content out to China, to India, to other countries in Southeast Asia. Um, South Korea entertainment industry is present and strong in Thailand. And if you notice, there is a Thai artist that is now working with a Korean artist and access the world stage.
Hmm.
The Thai film industry is discreet so far. At the same time, if you talk about the world stage and who we talk about from Asia, look, you have Kunapishatpong Veeraserathitakul, and I'm sorry I said his name with a mistake, but he got a Palme in Cannes. His latest feature film is recognized all over the world. He's a public figure all over the world, and he represents quite well a certain nouvelle vague of the Thai filmmakers. Um, so why Thailand? Because Thailand is at surprisingly at the center of what's happening in Asia. You have to keep in mind that China is a world in itself.
Hmm.
Chinese market is a market for China. China is not exporting its films to Europe, to the US, and if and I don't like to do that, but this is a fact of life so far. The entertainment industry in the world is led by Hollywood,
Hmm.
to the point where when you talk to those executives in the platforms, they are all American. You have what is worldwide, which is an American production, or local, which is not an American production.
Hmm.
And I'm sorry, but what is worldwide should be an American production and name title as such. And what is not American should not be a local production. French has, they're having a lot of international success. It's not local anymore. Korea again has, South Korea again has, you talk about the Squid Game. Yes, it's locally produced, but it's a worldwide success, so it's not local production anymore. And so there is a place to be taken by Southeast Asian filmmakers with the help of producers, with the help of distributors from surrounding us, but also from other parts of the world to bring um, local production to the world stage.
Yes.
This applies to Southeast Asia, but this applies to every part of the world. And I will just talk 5 seconds more to say that when you are not considering an American production, thanks to the platforms today, the streaming platforms, you have access to so many other source of production. Um, and you said you told me that you're Egyptian. Look,
Hmm.
the Egyptian movies, they've been ruling a part of the world for years.
Of course.
You
Yes,
see,
we used also to have like a golden age of Egyptian cinema, before even the color era, in the 40s, the 50s. It was expanded in the whole Arab world, the Middle East. And we used to have also artists from Lebanon, from Syria coming to work in Egypt, and they used Egyptian dialect. You never notice they are not Egyptian, at that time. So yeah, it was a very big industry in Egypt. But I want to ask you right now. We are in Bangkok and we have a festival screening films like yours. How do you see? I want to ask you about the competition with streaming platform. We have Netflix, we have Disney, we have Discovery, we have National Geographic produces documentary. How do you see the competition? And also, I want to ask you, how did you? I mean, how did you see the first edition last year from point of view audience? Did you see a lot of audience coming up to see interested in documentaries, or the audience is still influenced by such big names even in the streaming services?
we are being um, groomed in a way that first our attention span is very small, and we go for easy. Easy
Mhm.
means you take your phone, you go to YouTube, and you watch whatever YouTube has decided to bring to your attention.
Mhm.
So it's a challenge to bring people to pay attention to other sources, other places, um, to discover new things. And these documentaries are one of the top search for entertainment. This is due to the fact that there are so many news around that, and so many, we are questioning the truthworthiness of the news that are brought to our attention. That the same way as you read a book to know something in deep, and you watch a documentary to really bring yourself up to speed with interesting knowledge. So last year audience was what we could expect for the first year of a documentary film festival launched during the COVID. It was a lot higher than our expectation. The physical audience was very modest, but not because of the festival, because of the health related restrictions. So we could not have people coming to watch the film in mass.
Mhm.
And it was even forbidden, kind of forbidden, to advertise for that kind of public gathering. But we
Mhm.
had people watching. We had great interest, and last year we had a partnership with a streaming platform in the UK called filmdo.com. And Filmdo told us that they were quite impressed by the number of people watching the trailers
Mhm.
of the documentaries. It was a very high turnout. Now we have to invent a way for people to pay without feeling it's too much, to pay for a content that is unique, that is original, that is extremely interesting and valuable. And that when you ask to pay $15, you feel that it's a lot of money. At the same time, it's a meal.
Mhm.
So 40 films, 45 films for the price of a meal is not that much. But we have to find a way to convince people to make it a natural move. Um, Now you ask me about the competition with platforms. The platforms are not the competitors. The platform, they are now the best way to bring so much content to the world. Um, so my challenge and the team, the Bangkok Doc team challenge, is to bring our festival and our selection to the attention of people in this platform that are acquiring documentaries.
Mhm.
I must say that we are working on that. We are welcoming the platform, Netflix, Prime, um, HBO, Disney, Apple TV, and platforms that are not known on the international, on the west side of the world, but that are powerful here in Asia, to pay attention to the award winners and to the official selection. And we would be very happy, honored to connect them with the filmmakers and the right holders.
Yes.
We have this plan of entertaining some kind of distribution ourselves starting next year, to make sure that the window we open to distribution for these films does not close with the festival. This is one of the plans. So we are looking actively for financial partners and strategic partners to to pursue this plan.
Yes. From my point of view, I see that the margin between big networks and small networks, and also between television and cinema and streamings, are the margin is getting thinner. Because in the last couple of years, most of the film stars we know did films for Netflix, for Amazon. So we don't have this margin between a television star and a film star. And I remember, like more than 10 years ago, I was in Italy, in Taormina, Sicilia, And the head of the festival was an American, very famous critic, Deborah Young. She used to write for Hollywood Reporter and Variety, and she brought this documentary. It was called Standard Operating Procedure. It's about, the Abu Ghraib prison, in Iraq, and the film, I think I was very surprised because the film, when you see it, is shocking and at the same time entertaining. It's very fast paced, although it's based on documentary footage and still photos and interviews, the usual documentary stuff. But also, the movie was very fast paced and could be very accessible to people who don't like documentaries. And the music as well was composed by Danny Elfman, who is famous to collaborate with Tim Burton, and he did the first two Batman with Tim Burton and many of Tim Burton films. So I think bit by bit, I think the audiences can tend to watch more than action or comedy films. You would like to see other stuff as well, either for and also with efforts like yours and many other festivals organizers and platforms curators. I think this diversity will be brought to the streaming platforms as well.
You're right. You're right.
Mhm,
The diversity is important, and there is an opportunity here not to be missed for every gender, every you know, I didn't want to say gender, every
genre,
of
yes.
uh, genre of documentaries, genre of entertainment to
Hmm.
access uh, the mass streaming and to access a large number of people. It's important to show that whatever your origin, whatever your opinion, as long as you're respectful to others, you have a right to say and a right to be heard. What is extremely important for me in this documentary, in Bangkok Doc, our documentary film festival, is to give a voice and to give a platform to a very wide array of opinions. And that's why we have, for instance, we have the award for best minority related documentary, the award for first time filmmaker, or um, award for a film directed or produced by a woman. It's not to put woman as a minority because it's half of the world,
Hmm.
obviously,
Hmm.
but to help women to access the world stage at a moment where the industry is opening to more diversity, but still led by men directors and men producers. Um, we have So if we look through our categories, you have the traditional categories: best feature documentaries, best short documentaries, best series documentaries, best archive-based documentary, etc. But you have also best minority-related documentary, best documentary from a woman director or producer, best Asian documentary, best Chinese documentary, best Thai documentaries. We are based in
Hmm.
Thailand.
Of course.
Um, Best LGBTQ uh, related issue documentary, to say that we are open to all opinions.
Hmm.
We are open to all point of views, and this is very important, especially in our world today, where we need to have different point of views to make our own opinions. Um, the line not to be crossed is respect of others.
Of course.
As long as you respect others in your opinion, as long as you are not promoting hate, as long as you are not trying to hurt anyone, whatever you want to say is goes with us. So we don't have censorship for ideas or opinions. We have censorship for education, good manners, and
Hmm.
respect for others. So, what is the role of let's say, what is the role of leading platform in this effort. I think that there is one aspect that I really don't like, is that they are all based in the US. So it means we are living the American dream, and I don't say it in the 50 year in the the way it was understood during the 50s
Mm-hmm.
last century, but we are kind of forced to dream a way that might not be our way to dream.
Mm-hmm.
So when you are in Thailand, when you are in Egypt, when you are in Mali, you don't dream the same way as you would do in New York, in Los Angeles, in Phoenix. So I think this is what the leading streaming platform should have in mind and promote. Saying this, I must say that we welcome the opening of a large structure for Netflix in Thailand. They employed over 200 people in Thailand, from what I was told. So it may be a sign that what I've just said is in their mind, that have to give voice to everybody everywhere. That's a
Yes.
fantastic opportunity.
Yes. Stephane Lambert, founder of Bangkok Documentary Awards, I want to thank you very much for this rich interview. And I wish you all the best for the current and upcoming edition next year. And I wish you all the success with the awards, with the festival, and the expansion we talked about. And we hope to see you as well physically in one of these events.
Sheriff, thank you very much for inviting me to join your show. It's
Thank
been
you.
great to talk to you. Thank you for all your questions and your interest.
Thank you very
Um,
much.
if anyone wants to know more about BKK Doc, feel free to contact me through Sheriff,
Sure,
or
sure.
directly with bkkdoc.com.
Very
Thank you
good.
very
Yeah.
much.
Thank you. Yeah. Au revoir.
Sawadee Kap. Au revoir.